This is great. Thank you, by the way, for asking me to do this, because when I was preparing for the TEDx, I realized that I actually have a book in me. Things that I had was the whole person learning. Yeah? And that was basically based on the fact that we have bodies, we have hearts, we have creativity, we have intellect, we have skills. You know, we have different energy centers in different ways and things we learn. But our education system at the moment is dealing mainly with intellect and skills. Inspiration from it's just a way of visualizing this is the Indian chakra system. You know, the 7 energy centers. I believe that education needs to happen at all of these levels. And Tango, which I talked about, is one example of this. Because when you learn Tango, look at this smile. I love it. Tango. Tango is a metaphor for whole person learning, because you learn how to lead, how to let yourself be led, how to communicate, how to develop an intention, and conflict resolution, innovation. It's all in Tango. So all business skills, you could even say all life skills, are in Tango. That do it with Tai Chi and with boxing, using physical activity as a metaphor for learning that happens at lots of different places in the person. I mean, then what I'm saying is basically we need to do more than this. I also think we should be teaching comedy, because the greatest intelligence always comes together when people make you laugh. To make people laugh, which I struggle with, so I'm not particularly intelligent at all, but when you make people laugh, so many different intelligences come together. Cultural, sensitivity, you have to think fast, you have to have knowledge, you have to make connections. So I think comedy should be on the curriculum alongside physical activity, creativity, etc. Talk about it like this, whole person learning, example Tango, example comedy. Then clearly, what I'm also saying is knowledge transfer. Basically, right now, education is all about knowledge transfer. I do want people to read books and study, but it cannot be just knowledge transfer anymore. So it has to be plus, plus, plus. It's right now the core business model of education, traditional education, is knowledge transfer. I have knowledge, I give it to you, you become smarter, and hopefully you do something smart with it. Okay? That's a little bit like saying the music industry is only selling music. We know it isn't. It's also selling video, it's also selling compositions, it's also selling experiences and live performances. You know, economics is another good example, because economics for the longest time tried to explain economic human behavior through self-interest and self-interest only. And there have been a lot of people that have been saying for some time now, well, yes, self-interest is a motivator in the economy, but also altruism, also sometimes irrationality. So it's that idea of expand the business model, please. Education, expand your business model. It's good for us, it's good for you, and it's, well, evolution. I had some examples of people that are already doing that. So for example, Singularity University is a good one. Learning Lab, a friend of mine in Amsterdam, which is an action learning based inside the University of Amsterdam. They've given my friend Tjur Besselink this space where he can do a little bit what he wants to do, to work differently with students, and he's getting great results. So we're hoping to also scale that up. Well, one thing that I did mention is that a consequence of embracing the whole person learning, will be that there will be, number one, more hybrid learning models. So, and that her education will be a bit of studying at university, maybe a little bit of going into a learning lab and doing action learning, maybe spending some time in the Fab Lab, then going abroad using augmented reality to learn about Italian history. You know, just different types of learning.
Yeah.
What that then means, and I invented this word. Then we get not a curriculum vitae, you know, CV, curriculum particulum vitae, it's richer, but also the collective aggregate richer. Now, then I always hear the criticism, and it's very important criticism, yeah, but, you know, we cannot allow a doctor, a medical doctor, to just choose what they want to learn. Of course we cannot. They have to learn certain things. Yeah. But two things. One, they don't have to always learn it at university. And I mentioned this on Saturday, that my friend, you know, who I interviewed, said 80% of the knowledge I needed, the medical knowledge I needed, I could have, I didn't need to be in a lecture theatre for. So if you do it through spurt work or distance learning, or you know, do it yourselves together, DIYT, that's also a possibility. The two criticisms, and the criticism I get is, of course, you know, there are certain professions that just need to study certain things, and I completely agree. So please don't think for one moment that I don't want doctors to go through a certain curriculum anymore. That's not the point. But it can be done differently. It can be more flexibly. I asked her, of all the scientific knowledge that you needed to gain over the many years you've been studying medicine, how much of that did you need to be at the university in the lecture theatre? And how much of it could you have done in your own time, in your own learning groups, while you were abroad, maybe helping somewhere in Africa or whatever? 80% of all the knowledge that she has, she could have gotten in her own way. Because she knows how to study, and as long as there is, you know, you touch base, there are exams, you tell someone this is what you need to know in 6 months' time when you come back. Meanwhile, there's a mentor that helps you online or long distance. So I'm just saying, it can be more flexible. And imagine you free up that time at universities. What would be the impact of that? Universities, if they suddenly didn't have to have people around all year for 4 years, they would have time for other things. So there's a lot to think about. And the other answer I have for, of course we need doctors to still learn the medical knowledge that we need them to have. But going back to our picture, when we get here, really like big future, and I mentioned robotics and singularity, we will have far more help from machines. And doctors will have more help from machines. I fully expect, seriously, I fully expect in 20 years, going to the doctor will entail being pre-diagnosed by a computer. And it makes sense, because you can program the knowledge in and the, you know, the logical, if not this, then possibly this. And the smart systems is what I just mentioned. My daydream, as I told on Saturday, is I one day want to have my brain represented in real time. Think Minority Report and Tom Cruise, I want it represented in real time. And as I'm having this conversation with you, or you're talking to me, I want to monitor on my brain in real time which parts of my brain are getting inspired, which aren't. Systems and what's changing with technology, and this will impact on education. I'm not seeing education. Look at this. Maybe it's happening somewhere. If it's happening somewhere, world, please let me know. I think that the kind of education that we all really want at the end of the day is the education that produces innovation, somehow. So what I'm trying to say there is, let's always design education. Let's design an educational journey for a group of people with the idea or the goal in mind that it changes something in their lives and changes something in the world. Because at the end of the day, that's what we really want, right? What we're hoping for someone who studies philosophy is that they gain an insight that might change and develop our ideas. So we all benefit from it. So I don't know when the first philosopher questioned whether it was okay to exploit other human beings in any shape or form. That's a type of innovation. Yeah. I say it one more time. Creativity is a necessary condition to reach innovation. So if this is, here's education, here is what we want, innovation, broadly defined, some change in the world. A good, I mean, it has to be value-based innovation, that's very important, of course. If education wants to make that journey or help someone make that journey, I completely agree with Sir Ken Robinson that we need creativity.
Yeah.
But creativity is a necessary condition for reaching innovation.
Yeah.
Without it, no innovation. But it's not a sufficient condition.
Yeah.
It's not enough. Wonderful to be creative, but then you end up with loads and loads and loads of things when it works, and then you still have to do something with it. And that's why I think prototyping is so important. What I suggest to reach all of this, at least some more of it, yes, yes, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. Let's make, you know, cross-versities, just some, just some. So we have a few places in the world where people can go and cross-fertilize knowledge across disciplines, cross-fertilize across generations, age groups, and do so by looking at, you know, what would be value for the world given the challenges we have, given the big challenges that are coming and the uncertainty. So, you know, ethics-based or where it's about value and ethics. And I would like there to be, you know, I tell you one thing, if you look at it from the perspective of the future, which I said the future comes to us uneducated, our job to educate it. From the perspective of the future, what I'm proposing here is not very exciting. The future will probably need us to do much more. But when I propose it from the perspective of where we are, it seems like, whoa, it's a huge... We have to balance this out. The future might judge it differently. I think we need to do something.